Kia ora and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. In this series, we're talking about all the weapons and war gear off the trading post in Necromunda. So we've done basic weapons, we've done pistols, and we've now done special weapons. So the next one, naturally, is going to be moving on to heavy weapons now. So just quickly, I'm not going to be doing corrupted weapons, I'm not going to be doing gang-specific weapons, I'm only going to be doing the stuff that's available widely on the main trading post in the game of Necromunda for campaigns. Now, having just watched the previous videos that I did, because I hadn't had enough coffee, I'm now dressed and ready to go. I'm going to try and do this all in one day, so I'm going to make mistakes, but to be honest, I quite like mistakes. It keeps it organic, it stops it looking fake, I don't plan things out. Most of this is in my head. Again, I've got a lot of this stuff written down in front of me, but forgive me if I've made a few mistakes. The first one I've spotted, the biggest one actually, was what I was saying that Graviton Pulse, I was getting confused with Seismic. Now, Seismic is the one that auto-pins you if you've got Nerves of Steel, not Graviton Pulse. It's a minor one, but it's still a big deal, and we're going to get into that as we go into the heavy weapons, because there is one heavy weapon that has Seismic here as well. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Now, heavy weapons in Necromunda are not seen as much as a lot of the other weapons, obviously, because firstly, they're a lot more expensive. Secondly, you don't have as much access to them straight off the bat. Some of them are more common than others, of course, in gang creation. The other thing, of course, is that they're quite difficult to use and become very expensive if you want to use them effectively. What I mean is, heavy weapons are heavy, naturally, so they're hard to carry. So they all have something called unwieldy, pretty much, which means that you can't move and shoot with them. It's a double action to shoot with a heavy weapon, unless, of course, you have a suspenser. So a suspenser will allow you to do this. Anyway, without further ado, we'll get straight into it. We're going to go with the strangest one in the bunch, actually, because it's alphabetical here, and that's the harpoon launcher. Now, harpoon launchers are what you think they are. They shoot a, well, projectile kind of arrow hook thing with a chain attached to it, and they're not very good, but they are super fluffy and super fun to use. Now, they come in the Orlok box, I believe, so you can give them to Orloks straight out of the house list. Not sure if any other gangs get them to start with, apart from perhaps Corpse Grinders, correct me if I'm wrong there, maybe Gene Stealer Cult, something like that. But yeah, harpoon launchers, here's the stats. So, 6-inch short range with +2 to hit at that short range. So, very strange, very unusual to have such a short range in general. With the long range being 18 inches with no positives, no negatives, just 18 inches. So, a very short range weapon, effectively the same range as a shotgun. It's strength 5. It's -3 AP. So, it's like a power pick that you're chucking at somebody, basically. Now, -3 AP is really nice, especially when you're wounding on 3s most of the time against people with, with strength 5. It's damage 1 though. It's got a 5-up ammo. It's scarce, so if you run out of ammo, which is quite likely with a 5-up, you haven't got any left for the rest of the game, so that can be a problem. However, it has drag and impale, and now, without looking at the book, basically drag and impale do what they say they're doing. Impale, you can actually line up shots and shoot a guy behind the first guy you shot, if it goes through the first target. So that's quite hard to do, but really fluffy and really fun. You've then got something called drag, which means that you can effectively drag people off buildings and drag them closer to you for your close combat teammates to go in and slash up. So really, really fun. Doesn't often come off, but when it does, really, really cool stuff that you can do with it. So that's the harpoon launcher. In contrary to what I was just saying about unwieldy, the harpoon launcher is not unwieldy, so you can move and shoot with it. But that short range is going to be a problem. But I don't know. I've never used them. I'd really like to know your feedback on how how to use them effectively. If anyone does use them effectively, or do you just use them because of the rule of cool? But yeah, that's what the harpoon launcher does. Of course, if you are getting new to Necromunda and you're getting into it and you buy an Orlok gang box, you're going to see that there are harpoon launchers and heavy stubbers in there. I imagine 9 times out of 10 people are going to do the heavy stubber option, because if you are going for a heavy weapon, heavy stubber is so much better, in my opinion. Moving on though, we're going to go with the heavy bolter next. Now, heavy bolter, similar to any other bolt weapon, is ferociously powerful. Of course, the heavy bolter is the most powerful version of it. It is disgusting. So we've got an 18-inch short range, +1 to hit, of course. A 36-inch long range, which is very, very long, similar to a long rifle, long las maybe. We've then got strength 5 now, so an improvement on the bolt gun. We've got -2 AP instead of -1, so that's going to wipe out mesh armor and chomp through a lot of other better armor types, including carapace. It's 2 damage again. It's a 6-up AP. It is unwieldy. Unwieldy? I keep saying that wrong. But it has rapid fire 2 this time. So instead of rapid fire 1, you can potentially get off 2 3s. So you can get off 6 shots with a heavy bolter, wounding on 3s with most people, and each of those shots is 2 damage. So it's a hell of a lot of firepower that you can get out of these things, and they will put down anything in the game. Ambots, Ogrins, whatever you shoot them at, they're going to put down easily, especially with that -2 AP as well. So I think there are 160 off the top of my head credits, which is actually pretty good. I would say that's a very affordable price to pay for such a potent weapon. They're definitely one of the top tier, if not one of the best heavy weapons in the game. I don't really use heavy weapons, if I'm honest, but if I did, heavy bolter is definitely one of the top choices I would go for if I was trying to play competitively. You can also combo them with things like munitioneer to make them more reliable. You can put, there's a few Orlock tactics and whatnot that can work really nicely with heavy bolters. Bullet Lord, I believe, is one of them, where you can change those rapid fire dice into 3s just for that one shot in the game where you really want to absolutely positively nuke everything. Then you're going to do that with the heavy bolter. Next up is a really weird one, actually. It's the heavy flamer. So we spoke earlier about hand flamers being really good, flamers being good, but the heavy flamer being bad. So we've got hand flamer good, flamer, hand flamer very good, flamer good, heavy flamer fairly terrible, actually, which is interesting. So mainly because it's so expensive, 180 or something crazy like that. Credits 160, I could be wrong. But it's very, very, very expensive. Now, it's the same template size as the hand flamer and the flamer. In old 40k and old Necromunda, you used to have smaller templates and bigger templates for these weapons, which would make sense, but they got rid of that. It's just the one template. You've got strength 5, -2 AP, 1 damage, 5+ ammo, blaze, template, unwieldy. So you basically got if you want to be funny about it, you can get a combat shotgun with the in whatever the blaze rounds you get on those are, and it's effectively putting out a heavy flamer shot for an absolute fraction of the price. So really, really weird, because you're going to need to move and shoot with this thing, so you'll need a suspenser on it, and if you need the suspenser of it, you're clocking in at over 200 credits for one weapon. It's just bonkers. No one's going to do it. Sure, it'd be fun, but it's just silly. Not a good weapon at all. So that one gets a big F for me. Arguably the worst heavy weapon, I would say, just based on the way that it's so hard to use and it's so expensive for what it does. Sure, if you get hit by it, it's not very nice, but hand flamers, maybe 3 hand flamers for the price. 4 hand flamers, I don't know. But yeah, you see what I mean? Anyway, moving on, we've got the heavy stubber now, so short range of 20, which is awesome, and a long range of 40. So heavy stubbers have got really long range, which is kind of strange for a machine gun, I suppose, but that's basically what it is. It's a machine gun. We've got -1 to hit at long range though, but it's nice to have that range anyway. Strength 4, -1 AP, damage 1, 4+ ammo check, and rapid fire 2 again. So you can again put off 6 shots if you like at strength 4 with -1 AP. So it's almost as good as a heavy bolter sometimes. The heavy bolter just has that extra strength and the extra AP. However, and the damage, of course, but the heavy stubber is very, very good, especially for the price. It's a lot cheaper than a heavy bolter, and it's good. It's a really good weapon. Of course, that long range is going to hurt you, but 20 inches at short range is pretty decent. 20 inches is, you can get that range quite easily, even on a big board sometimes. So again, though, you're going to want it with a suspensor most of the time. So moving on to the absolute ridiculousness in that is a las cannon. Now we've got a Venator gang in our campaign that you've probably seen, Kurnos' Lance, who have a one-hit wonder who has a las cannon with a suspensor. Now las cannons, if you play 40k at all, are like a staple. They are the tank killer of weapons, basically, so I believe. They have a 24-inch short range. They have a 48-inch long range, and they are more accurate at long range with +1 to hit. So at 48 inches, you're hitting a +1, which is kind of lovely. Your strength 10, so you're wounding everything on 2s, basically. Pretty much everything, even Ogryns, right, on 2s. You're -3 AP with 3 damage, 4+ ammo, which is pretty good for a heavy weapon. They have knockback as well, which is a nice little thing to have, and they're also unwieldy. So, I mean, what can you say about the las cannon other than it's an incredibly potent, long-range sniping heavy weapon, basically. It is devastating if you get hit by it. However, if you're Rory, you roll a 1 every single time you hit or wound, and it never does anything, and it's just a waste of credits. So there you go. I mean, again, like, if you're going to put all this credits into a heavy weapon, then I don't know, like, it seems like overkill. The one thing that stands out to me with the las cannon is it's just one shot. So if that one shot misses, then you haven't got a template to back you up. You haven't got. Sure, it's really powerful and it's going to kill whatever it hits, but not if you roll once, basically. And there's no rapid fire there either as well. So it does. It's not as good as it looks on paper, I don't think. But yeah, moving on. We've then got the mining laser, which is basically a mini las cannon in a lot of ways. Now this one, it has got a much shorter range, so we're looking at 18 and 24 for short long respectively, and it's -1 at long range, so it's kind of opposite to the las cannon in terms of its accuracy at long range. It's strength 9, so almost as strong as the las cannon. It's also -3 AP, it's also 3 damage, but it has a 3-up ammo, which is excellent for a heavy weapon. Now the mining laser is quite a bit cheaper too, and I think you can get it on maybe Orlocks and definitely G-Steel Occults out of the box. So really good, actually really good heavy weapon, to be honest. But yeah, the -1 to hit at 24 inches is, yeah, it's not great, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Again, it suffers from that one shot wonder thing. Again, if you don't get that shot off and it doesn't wound, then it's kind of like, it's a bit of a wet fart, really, isn't it? But if it does hit you, it's most definitely killing you. Next up, we've got the missile launcher. And the missile launcher is a bit of a strange one. The only thing you can really compare this to is the grenade launcher, and it's just not as good as the grenade launcher, mainly because it's so much more expensive and just less reliable. So this has frag and crack variants of its missiles, which are better than the grenades, arguably. But again, it just suffers from that being very expensive. However, the frag, it's also got a longer range as well, so it's 24 to 48 for short and long with both variants. You can't get other missile types though, which is annoying. There's nothing outside of frag and crack for the missile launcher. You've got strength 4 on the frag though, which is really nice, plus -1 AP, so that's really annoying, and it's also a huge whopping 5-inch blast marker, so very good. It's got knockback again, but I think it just suffers from being very expensive out of the box compared to your 65 credit grenade launcher. That said, it's very useful. The 5-inch template is huge, but there is a heavy crossbow on the Cordor list, which is arguably a lot better. I've seen these used though, and they're pretty cool. The crack variant is obviously strength 6, -2 AP, and 3 damage for this one, so definitely a lot more dangerous than the grenade launcher type, which is 2 damage. But again, I don't know, it's a funny weapon, the missile launcher. I haven't seen many people using them compared to, say, a heavy stub or a heavy bolter, but there you go. The next one up, of course, is the multi-melter, and a multi-melter is just death incarnate. It is horrific. If you can imagine, it's basically a giant industrial hairdryer that just melts everything in front of it. This one has a 12-inch short range, 24-inch long range, so it hasn't got the range that say a las cannon or auto cannon things have got. It's got +1 to hit short range. It's strength 8. It's -4 AP, so it has even more AP than a las cannon or a plasma cannon or anything like that. It's got 3 damage, 4 up ammo, and a blast 3-inch template. So if you combine melter with a blast template, you've got very scary shit going on. It also has the melter trait as well, of course, which is lovely. So anything in short range, I think, I don't know, I'm not sure how it works with the template, but I think off the top of my head, everything in short range that's wounded just gets taken out of action. Now, I was that guy when I started playing Necromunda, and I just thought I wasn't thinking straight, and I wasn't a particularly nice person, maybe, and I had a dispenser-wielding, multi-melted Banter champion who was hitting on 2s, and it was disgusting, and he was just killing everybody on the field. Sure, it was expensive, but it was very potent. And I think we've got someone in the new campaign coming up who's doing the same build with maybe like 3 Banter guys in the whole list, all with heavy weapons and stuff. So that'll be really funny and interesting to see. I'm not looking forward to being on the receiving end of it, but we shall see. There are ways to counter these things. But yeah, the template on Melter is just unbelievably powerful. So there you go. But again, an incredibly expensive thing to have, and obviously something that you're going to struggle to have in a starting list of any sort of type, really. Next up, we've got the plasma cannon. Now, plasma, as you know, and as I've already mentioned, is incredibly potent. The plasma cannon is no less potent as well. So this is the souped up version of the plasma gun, basically, with an 18-inch short range, 36-inch long range, +1 to hit a short on both low and maximal profiles. We also have strength 4 and 6 respectively. Sorry, looking at the wrong one, 6 and 8 respectively. We have -1 AP on the low profile, -2 on the high profile, which probably could be more, but it's still very good. We also have 2 damage and 3 damage as well. The main thing here though is the first one gets rapid fire, the low profile gets rapid fire again, but only 1, luckily. But the maximal profile gets a 3-inch blast. So again, it's similar to the multi-melter in a lot of ways, but I would still say that actually in this case, I think the multi-melter is by far the superior heavy weapon, even if it is more expensive. Which I think there's a 20 credit difference between the two of them. Again, this is off the top of my head, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but there you go. The next one is the seismic cannon. Now, the seismic cannon is quite unique because there isn't another weapon in any other category that has these traits. And this one has a short wave and a long wave variant. So 2 profiles, both the same range though. We've got 12-inch and 24, with on the low one, -1 to hit a long range, and on the high one, -1 to hit a short range. So interesting, you've got options there. The low power is strength 6, -1 AP, 2 damage, knockback, rapid fire, and seismic, so auto pins you. I got that wrong in the last one. Seismic is the one that auto pins you, even if you've got Nerves of Steel. So the low one is very powerful still, and the maximal power, sorry, I say maximal, it's short and long, so they are slightly different. It's not a high and low, it's a short and long. That was the short power, so the short burst is more powerful basically. The long wave is strength 3, has rapid fire 2 and seismic, and also has knockback. So both have knockback, both auto pin, but the short wave is much more accurate in short range. The long wave is much more accurate at long range and has rapid fire. So really interesting weapon. I've never used one, but I would quite like to actually. Sounds like a really good one. Now there are other heavy weapons like mole launchers and auto cannons, but again, those are black market or imperial weapons, so we're not going to go into those today. But there you go. That is the heavy weapons list from the trading post. I hope you enjoyed that. Please correct me if any of the stuff that I've said is wrong. Please comment with your views and opinions on these things as well. I'm going to just vote on each one of these and just tell you my favourite heavy weapon now, because my favourite basic weapon was the las gun, my favourite pistol was the stub gun, my favourite special weapon, I'm going to say, is the long rifle. It's the long rifle. And my favourite heavy weapon you can see a pattern here. I'm just going to go for the more iconic weapons, and I think it's the heavy stubber. So there you go. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side.